desperate wolves are notable monsters. A huge number of these terminated Pleistocene carnivores have been recuperated from the Brea Tar Pits in Los Angeles. Furthermore, the huge canids have even gotten some time at the center of attention because of the TV arrangement Game of Thrones. However, another investigation of critical wolf hereditary qualities has alarmed scientists. It found that these creatures were not wolves by any stretch of the imagination, but instead the remainder of a canine ancestry that developed in North America. Since the time they were first portrayed during the 1850s, critical wolves have caught present-day people's creative mind. Their remaining parts have been found all through a significant part of the Americas from Idaho to Bolivia. The La Brea Black Top leaks broadly record how prey creatures buried in tar tricked large numbers of these Ice Age hunters to attack passing. The critical wolves' tarsade remaining parts uncover a monumental tracker up to 6 feet in length, with skull and jaw variations to bring down colossal, battling megafauna. Despite the fact that these canids had plainly developed to deal with the mastodons, ponies, buffalo and other huge herbivores at that point meandering the Americas. Skeletal likenesses between critical wolves and the more modest dim wolves of today recommended a nearby family relationship. It had for some time been accepted that desperate wolves made themselves at home in North America before dark wolves followed them across the Bering Land Bridge from Eurasia. Presently some very much saved DNA is by all accounts essentially changing the story. The new investigation, distributed on Wednesday in Nature, started as a push to comprehend critical wolves' organic essentials. As far as I might be concerned, it began with a choice to travel around the US, gathering critical wolf tests and see what we could get. Since nobody had figured out how to get DNA out of desperate wolf tests by then, says Durham University excavator and study co-creator Anjula Perry. Simultaneously, geneticist and co-creator Kieran Mitchell of the University of Adelaide in Australia was likewise attempting to concentrate and study antiquated DNA from critical wolf stays, as were different labs that at last worked together on the venture. One of the analysts' inquiries was the way critical wolves were identified with different wolves. For quite a long time, scientists have commented on how comparable the bones of desperate wolves and dark wolves are. In some cases it is hard to reveal to them separated. My hunch was that critical wolves were potentially a particular heredity or subspecies of dim wolf, Mitchell says. Be that as it may, the new proof recounted an alternate story. Fundamental hereditary examinations showed that critical and dim wolves were not close family members. I want to represent the entire gathering when I state the outcomes were unquestionably an amazement, Perry says. Subsequent to sequencing 5 genomes from critical wolf fossils somewhere in the range of 50,000 and 30,000 years of age, the specialists found that the creatures had a place with a lot more established genealogy of canines. Desperate wolves, it currently showed up, had developed in the Americas and had no nearby family relationship with the dim wolves from Eurasia. The last time dim wolves and critical wolves shared a typical precursor was about 5.7 million years prior. The solid likeness between the two, the scientists state, is an instance of concurrent advancement, whereby various species create comparable transformations, or even appearances because of a comparative lifestyle. Here and there such intermingling is just harsh, for example, the 2 flying creatures in bats advancing wings in spite of their varying life structures, on account of critical and dark wolves' lives of pursuing enormous herbivores to get some meat on the foot brought about 2 diverse canid ancestries freely delivering wolf-like structures. These outcomes absolutely shake up the possibility that critical wolves were simply greater cousins of dim wolves, says Yukon scientist Grant Zarzula, who was not engaged with the new investigation. Indeed, the likeness between the two has driven dim wolves to be taken as intermediaries for desperate wolf science and conduct from pack elements to the sound of the creature's wails. The desperate wolf's new character implies that numerous past suppositions down to what it resembled throughout everyday life require investigation. The investigation of old DNA and proteins from fossil bones is quickly revising the Ice Age and later history of North America's warm-blooded animals, Zarzula says. In specialized terms, the new discoveries mean critical wolves may require another family name to show they are at this point don't be important for the variety Canis, to which dark wolves have a place. Perry, Mitchell and their partners recommend Anosian, signifying awful wolf, but the analysts don't anticipate that their discoveries should totally topple custom, and Anosian dirus would probably keep on being known as the critical wolf. They will simply join the club of things like made wolves that are called wolves yet aren't actually. Perry says the new discoveries likewise add layers to specialists' ruminations on why critical wolves ultimately vanished as the last ice age shut. These hunters got spent significant time in chasing camels, ponies, buffalo and different herbivores in North America more than a long period of time. As those prey sources vanished, so did the desperate wolves, as opposed to dim wolves, which are a model for variation, Perry says. Critical wolves have all the earmarks of being significantly less adaptable to manage changing conditions and prey. Nor did critical wolves leave a hereditary heritage past the rotting DNA in their old bones. Despite the fact that canids, for example, or wolves and coyotes frequently make crossbreeds. Desperate wolves obviously didn't do as such with whatever other canids that stay alive today. Perry, Mitchell and their associates found no DNA proof of interbreeding between critical wolves and dark wolves or coyotes. Critical wolves were hereditarily confined from different canids, Mitchell notes. So, hybridization couldn't give an exit plan, on the grounds that desperate wolves were most likely incapable to create feasible posterity with the as-of-late showed-up wolves from Eurasia. By 13,000 years prior, desperate wolves were confronting eradication. Developing in the cruel, variable conditions of Eurasia may have given dark wolves an edge, Zarzula notes, while the enormous terrible critical wolves got found napping unwinding in Southern California toward the finish of the Ice Age. But what may seem like the finish of the desperate wolf story is truly just the start. Saved qualities have indicated that desperate wolves and their progenitors were bosses in the Americas for in excess of 5 million years, and the early parts of their story are standing by to be revised.